Hello, everybody. Welcome to a daily dose of the Bible. We are reading through Genesis, and in Genesis 42 right now, Joseph's become the head of Pharaoh's household, the leader of all of Egypt now. No second in command to the Pharaoh, not the leader, but second in command to the Pharaoh. And he is over all of the grain in this time of famine. Everybody's depending upon him, and he's coming through. So here we are in chapter 42. Joseph's brothers go to Egypt, so they're going to have to come get some grain. When Jacob heard that grain was available in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why are you standing looking around at one another? I've heard there's grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy enough grain to keep us alive. Otherwise we'll die." So Joseph's 10 older brothers went down to Egypt to buy grain. But Jacob wouldn't let Joseph's younger brother, Benjamin, go with them, for fear some harm might come to him. So Jacob's sons arrived in Egypt along with the others to buy food, for the famine was in Canaan as well. Since Joseph was governor of all Egypt, and in charge of selling grain to all the people, it was to him his brothers came. When they arrived, they bowed before him with their faces to the ground. Joseph recognized his brothers instantly, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. "Where are you from?" he demanded. "From the land of Canaan," they replied. "We have come to buy food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they didn't recognize him, and he remembered the dreams he had so many years before. He said to them, "You are spies. You've come to see how vulnerable our land has become." "No, my lord," they exclaimed. "Your servants are simply come to buy food. We are all brothers, members of the same family. We are honest men, sir. We are not spies." "Yes, you are," Joseph insisted. "You have come to see how vulnerable our land has become." "Sir," they said, "there are actually 12 of us. We, your servants, are all brothers, sons of a man living in the land of Canaan. Our youngest brother is back there with our father, and one of our brothers is no longer with us." Joseph insisted, "As I said, you are spies. This is how I will test your story. I will swear by the life of Pharaoh that you will never leave Egypt unless your youngest brother comes here. One of you must go and get your brother. I'll keep the rest of you here in prison. Then we'll find out whether or not your story is true. By the life of Pharaoh, if it turns out that you don't have a younger brother, then I will know you are spies." So Joseph put them in prison for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, "I'm a God-fearing man. If you do as I say, you will live. If you are really honest men, choose one of your brothers to remain in prison. The rest of you may go home with the grain for your starving families, but you must bring your youngest brother back to me. This will prove you are telling the truth, and you will not lie." To this they agreed. Okay, so I'm going to stop here because it's in the middle of the chapter, and it's a long chapter with one title. So this is an awesome turn of events. Right here is his dream coming true right in front of him. To flash back on those dreams back, if you've ever had anything like that, any kind of a, I don't know, inkling or premonition from the Lord, like, oh, you shouldn't do that, or, whatever, or like, sometimes it's not as obvious as a dream. Sometimes it's an inkling that you realize a little later, oh, that is why you were keeping me away from there, or, oh, that's what you had in mind, or, oh, that's what that meant. And this is an aha moment for Joseph. I'm sure he thought about those dreams a lot, because he knew someday they might just come true after being involved with dreams already in his life, interpreting the Pharaoh's dream and the baker and cupbearer's dreams as well. So he probably knew he had this talent, and he probably kind of knew that someday, somehow, those dreams were going to come true. I also think it's interesting that they say that there are 12, and one of their brothers is no longer with them. Well, I mean, that's their own fault. That's despite the fact that they did away with their brother, they still claim him as a member of their family. So, let's just see where this goes. Speaking among themselves, they said, "Clearly we are being punished because of what we did to Joseph long ago. We saw his anguish when he pleaded for his life, but we wouldn't listen. That's why we are in this trouble." "Didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy?" Reuben asked. "But you wouldn't listen, and now you have to answer for his blood." Of course they didn't know that Joseph understood them, for he had been speaking to them through an interpreter. Now he turned away from them and began to weep. When he regained his composure, he spoke to them again. The reality of the situation is just so touching, like his brother's right in front of him and he's gonna, have to keep up the facade or whatever. It's one of those moments where, like they don't think he understands them, and, oh, he does speak your language. You didn't even know, like in a movie or something. When he regained his composure, he spoke to them again. Then he chose Simeon from among them and had him tied up right before their eyes. Joseph then ordered his servants to fill the men's sacks with grain, but he also gave secret instructions to return each brother's payment in the top of his sack. He also gave them supplies for their journey home. So the brothers loaded their donkeys with grain and headed for home. But when they stopped for the night, one of them opened his sack to get the grain for his donkey. He found his money on the top of his sack. "Look," he exclaimed to his brothers, "my money has been returned. It's here in my sack." Their hearts sank. Trembling, they said to each other, "What has God done to us?" "What have you done to yourselves, boys?" When the brothers came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him everything that had happened to them. "The man who is governor of the land spoke very harshly to us," they told him. "He accused us of being spies, scouting the land. But we said, 'We are honest men, not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of one father. One brother is no longer with us, and the youngest is at home with our father in the land of Canaan.' The man who's governor of the land told us, 'This is how I will find out if you're an honest man. Leave one of your brothers here with me and take the grain to your starving families and go on home. But you must bring your youngest brother back to me. Then I will know you are honest men and not spies. Then I will give you back your brother, and you may trade freely in the land.' As they emptied out their sacks, there in each man's sack was a bag of money he had paid for the grain. The brothers and their father were terrified when they saw the bags of money. Jacob exclaimed, 'You are robbing me of my children. Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and now you want to take Benjamin too? Everything is going against me.' Then Reuben said to his father, 'You may kill my 2 sons if I don't bring Benjamin back to you. I'll be responsible for him, and I promise to bring him back.' But Jacob replied, 'My son will not go down with you. His brother Joseph is dead, and he is all I have left. If anything should happen to him on your journey, you would send this grieving, white-haired man to his grave.'" So there it is, that Jacob refused to send Benjamin, which is a cowardly turn of events. I mean, he doesn't only have 1 son left, he has 11 sons left, but he plays favorites in a very clear way. But yet you can understand his terror in letting his youngest son go when the second to youngest has now disappeared. And they told him that he was eaten by wild animals out in the woods or whatever, out in the wilderness, and they found his coat all bloodied. And now to send them off with his other son, he just can't think of doing it. But they're obviously going to have to go settle things somehow. So this is the plot twist. This is the crazy end of the story. Well, it's not the end of the story, but this is how it goes for Joseph after so long of suffering away from his family, and uh, wondering why they did this, feeling probably such anger, and I'll be so angry with my brothers. I don't know if I even would have gave him the grain. I would have just put him all in prison. But he's got a plan. He's following God's plan, I guess. He's circling the wagons or whatever, and he's getting ready to ensnare his brothers, and I don't know. I'm not quite sure what happens when he confronts them. So we'll have to keep reading on this story. But that's just what God does. He takes things from, where is this? Poor Joseph. He's first sold off into slavery. Now he's put in prison. Oh, look, now he's, the leader of Egypt, second in command. Now he's able to confront his brothers and maybe heal the situation. Right now he really desires to see his younger brother and make sure he's still alive. So just take this story and understand that God can do that for you too. He can bring it full circle to where you will be the one on top of the situation. Well, he'll be on top, and you'll be the one feeling in charge, and you'll be the one who knows what to do. Just look to him for all those answers, and he will certainly guide and direct your path.